They could have been called legends. They could have been called Hall of Famers. Instead, they called Caitlin Clark, a 22-year-old from Iowa who has never played an NBA minute.
Caitlin Clark was born on January 22, 2002, in West Des Moines, Iowa.
And handed her the microphone. Why would NBC bet the future of their biggest basketball broadcast on someone so untested? February 1st, 2025, Madison Square Garden. Lakers versus Knicks. Caitlin Clark is about to rewrite the rules of basketball broadcasting forever. The future of NBA. To understand why this moment matters, you need to understand what NBC is attempting to resurrect. For decades, this network was synonymous with NBA basketball, the iconic Round Ball Rock theme song. Marv Albert's voice calling impossible plays, Michael Jordan flying through the air, while millions of Americans gathered around their televisions every Sunday night. A basketball night in America was not just a broadcast, it was a cultural institution. Then it ended. The rights went elsewhere, the music faded, and an entire generation grew up without ever experiencing what it felt like to watch professional basketball on NBC. Until now, the network paid an astronomical sum to bring the NBA back. They secured the Sunday night slot.
There's more. We're going to announce Peacock NBA Monday. This is a new NBA franchise. It debuts October 27th.
The premium real estate of American sports broadcasting. They dusted off that legendary theme song and prepared to weaponize nostalgia against every competitor in the marketplace. But the executives understood something crucial. Nostalgia alone would not be enough. The audience that remembers the original basketball night in America is aging. The Jordan-era fans who get chills when they hear that theme are now in their 40s, 50s, 60s. See, they are not the demographic that advertisers pay premium rates to reach. NBC needed a bridge. They needed someone who could speak to the generation that watched his airness and the generation that watches TikTok highlights on their phones. They needed someone who carried the credibility of basketball excellence while embodying the cultural moment of right now. They needed a phenomenon. During Caitlin Clark's college career, NBC put one of her games behind the Peacock paywall. Subscriptions surged overnight. People who had never considered paying for Peacock suddenly handed over their credit cards just to watch a college basketball game. The Caitlin Clark effect was not theoretical. It showed up in the data, in the ratings, in numbers that made executives' eyes go wide. So when the time came to decide who would anchor their NBA comeback, NBC did not play it safe. They went after the most valuable property in basketball media and gave her the keys to the entire operation. Queen of MSG, Madison Square Garden. The words themselves carry weight that no other arena name can match. This is where Willis Reed limped onto the court and changed the outcome of an NBA Finals.
The Celtics are NBA champions.
This is where Reggie Miller scored 8 points in 9 seconds and broke an entire city's heart. This is where every great player dreams of performing, because performing here means something different than performing anywhere else. The Garden does not forgive. The Garden does not forget. The Garden is where legends are made and pretenders are exposed. NBC chose this venue for Caitlin Clark's debut with surgical precision. They could have started her in a smaller market. He let her find her footing against a less scrutinized backdrop. They could have eased her into the role with a mid-tier matchup that would attract moderate attention and allow for a learning curve. Instead, they threw her into the deep end of the deepest pool in professional basketball. Lakers versus Knicks. LeBron James chasing history in the twilight of his career. The New York market, with its unforgiving media ecosystem and its passionate, demanding fan base. Every word Caitlin speaks will be analyzed. Every observation will be compared to what the Hall of Famers beside her are saying.
Inducted into the 2025 Dowling Catholic Athletic Hall of Fame. She was a 2020 graduate of the high.
Every moment will be captured, clipped, shared, and debated across every social media platform on the planet. This is not a tryout. This is a coronation. NBC is telling the world that they believe in Caitlin Clark so completely that they are willing to stake their entire NBA relaunch on her ability to perform under maximum pressure. And the composition of the analyst desk makes the statement even louder. Carmelo Anthony, Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady. Three of the greatest scorers in NBA history, three players whose highlight reels are burned into the memories of every basketball fan over the age of 25. Melo with the most beautiful jab step the game has ever seen, a scoring arsenal so complete that defenders could only hope to survive rather than actually stop him. Vince Carter, the greatest dunker who ever lived, a man who literally jumped over a 7-footer in international competition and convinced an entire generation that human flight was possible. Tracy McGrady, was the smoothest offensive player of his era, a scorer so effortless that it looked like he was playing a different sport than everyone else on the court.
I went from a player that was unknown to the #1 player in the nation over a course of a summer.
Got it with two hands and
These are not just analysts. These are monuments. And NBC is seating Caitlin Clark directly beside them at eye level as an equal voice in the conversation. The visual alone will be revolutionary. The queen of the logo 3 sharing the screen with the kings of mid-range artistry and above-the-rim dominance. Different eras, different styles, different leagues, same table. The conversations that emerge from this combination have the potential to become some of the most compelling basketball content ever broadcast. Imagine Caitlin asking Melo about reading defensive rotations from the triple threat position. Imagine Vince asking Caitlin about the mechanics of shooting from 30 feet with confidence. Imagine Tracy breaking down the nuances of creating separation, while Caitlin offers the perspective of someone who does it against elite defenders every single night. This is not going to be the stale, predictable analysis that has plagued sports broadcasting for years. This is going to be a basketball laboratory, a place where different generations and different experiences collide to produce insights that none of them could generate alone. Clark beyond the game. Nothing about this arrangement is accidental. NBC did not randomly select February 1st for the debut and March 29th for the follow-up appearance. These dates were chosen with the precision of a military operation, on each one serving a specific strategic purpose in the larger campaign to maximize Caitlin Clark's impact and NBC's return on investment. February 1st falls right before the NBA All-Star break, a period when basketball conversation reaches fever pitch. The league's brightest stars are about to gather for a weekend of celebration and competition. Every sports media outlet in the country will be producing all-star content, debating selections, analyzing matchups, generating the kind of wall-to-wall coverage that dominates the cultural conversation. Caitlin Clark will be inserted directly into that maelstrom. Her debut will become part of the All-Star Weekend narrative.
Caitlin Clark is a supernova, the likes of which we've never seen.
Her game resonates with people that love basketball.
Her analysis of the Lakers-Knicks game will be compared and contrasted with everything else being said about the league's elite players. She will not be a sideshow. She will be at the center of the basketball universe at the exact moment when the basketball universe is demanding the most attention. March 29th serves a different purpose. By late March, the WNBA season is approaching. Training camps are forming. Rosters are being finalized. The Indiana Fever, Caitlin's professional team, will be preparing for a season in which expectations have never been higher. The March appearance keeps her in the public consciousness during the transition period between her NBC work and her return to the court. It ensures that casual fans who discovered her through the Sunday night broadcasts will remember to tune in when the WNBA tips off. It maintains the momentum that NBC will have built over the previous 2 months. But there is another factor that makes this scheduling even more significant, and one that industry insiders have been discussing in hushed tones for months.
With the first pick in the 2024 WNBA draft.
The WNBA is facing a potential labor dispute. Negotiations between the league and the players' union have been contentious. A lockout is not guaranteed, but it is possible. If the season is delayed, if games are postponed while lawyers argue about revenue splits and working conditions, Caitlin Clark will not disappear from public view. She will have a platform. She will have a presence. She will be on national television every Sunday night, analyzing NBA games, building her brand, expanding her audience, while her colleagues sit at home waiting for a resolution. This NBC arrangement is not just an opportunity, it is an insurance policy. It guarantees that no matter what happens with labor negotiations, Caitlin Clark will remain the most visible basketball player in America. The brilliance of this positioning cannot be overstated. Most athletes are entirely dependent on their league for exposure. When games are not being played, they fade from public consciousness. Their social media engagement drops. Their sponsorship value declines. They become yesterday's news until the next season begins. Caitlin has engineered a situation where she is league-proof. Her visibility does not depend on the WNBA playing games.
Assist from Boston, and I think is so enticing for Fever fans, for WNBA fans, how they open up a really nice acquisition for Dan.
Her brand does not require the Indiana Fever to be on the court. She has diversified her portfolio in a way that almost no active athlete has ever accomplished, and she has done it at 22 years old. Mastering the spotlight. Critics are already sharpening their knives. She has no experience. She is too young. She has never played a single minute in the NBA. How can she possibly analyze a league she has only watched from the outside? These objections sound reasonable until you examine the evidence. Caitlin Clark has been performing in front of cameras since she was 18 years old. Thousands of interviews, hostile questions from reporters trying to create headlines, the pressure of speaking to millions while the spotlight burned into her eyes. She did a Manning-cast-style alternate broadcast during the Final Four and was so natural, so effortlessly engaging, that viewers forgot they were watching a first-time broadcaster. She hopped into the Yankees booth and held her own with announcers who have been doing this for decades.
Well, no, Duque's working with the minor leagues, with the Yankees, kind of roves around and
She is not learning television. She has already mastered it. And when it comes to basketball knowledge, the criticism collapses entirely. Caitlin sees passing lanes that do not exist until she creates them. She reads defensive rotations 3 steps before they happen. She understands spacing, timing, and shot selection with an intuition that allows her to pull up from 35 feet with the same confidence most players feel at the free throw line. This is exactly what NBA broadcasting needs. For too long, analysis has been dominated by former players repeating the same observations in the same tired language. Predictable, stale, audiences tuning out before tip-off. Caitlin brings a perspective that is simultaneously inside and outside the game. She has played at the highest level, so she understands the pressure, the split-second decisions, the physical demands. But she has also watched the NBA as a fan, absorbing the league from the same vantage point as viewers at home. She can translate between these worlds in ways that a 15-year NBA veteran simply cannot, and that translation is worth more than any credential the critics demand. The signature moment. NBC producer Sam Flood dropped a tease that has sent the internet into a frenzy of speculation.
I think we want to have a live trail, which was tried years ago by Fox, which had some real fans and some real detractors.
He said the network hopes to have Caitlin with a basketball in her hand during the broadcast. On the surface, this seems like a minor detail. Of course, a basketball analyst might hold a basketball while explaining a concept or demonstrating a technique. But the timing of this statement, combined with what we know about Caitlin's off-court business dealings, suggests something far more significant might be planned. Nike has been remarkably quiet about Caitlin Clark's signature shoe. We know the deal exists. We know the shoe is coming. We know it will be one of the most anticipated sneaker releases in years. The kind of product launch that generates headlines and camping lines and resale prices that triple the retail cost within hours. What we do not know is when Nike plans to reveal it to the world. Consider the marketing possibilities if that reveal happens on February 1st at Madison Square Garden.
The Knicks and the Nets coming up here on MSG. Madison Square Garden lit up in the Lakers uniform colors.
Millions of viewers watching the debut of Basketball Night in America. Caitlin Clark positioned as the centerpiece of the broadcast. The Lakers and Knicks providing the backdrop. And then, during a natural break in the analysis, she reaches down and picks up a basketball. And the camera pulls back to reveal shoes that no one has ever seen before. The social media explosion would be instantaneous. Every sneaker account, at every sports blog, every basketball fan with a Twitter account would be posting screenshots, analyzing the design, speculating about release dates and colorways. The shoe would trend globally within minutes. Nike would achieve the kind of organic word-of-mouth marketing that no advertising budget can purchase. This theory might be wrong. The basketball in her hand might simply be a prop for explaining pick-and-roll defense or demonstrating proper shooting form, but the fact that NBC's producer specifically mentioned this detail suggests that something significant is being planned, something designed to generate conversation far beyond the game itself. Bridge between leagues. For decades, the NBA and WNBA have operated as separate entities that happen to share a name and a commissioner's office. The men's league generated billions in revenue while the women's league struggled for recognition, for coverage, for the basic respect that should accompany athletic excellence at the highest level. Fans who loved the NBA often had no idea when the WNBA season started or which teams were competing for championships. The two leagues existed in parallel universes that rarely intersected in any meaningful way. Caitlin Clark's presence on the NBA broadcast represents something more than a personnel decision.
Caitlin Clark's debut for NBA on NBC went well.
It represents a philosophical shift in how basketball is presented to American audiences. When the face of the WNBA analyzes NBA games with the same authority as retired NBA players, when her insights are treated as equally valuable, when she is positioned as a peer rather than a novelty, the message becomes impossible to ignore. Basketball is basketball. Excellence is excellence. The gender of the person speaking does not determine the validity of their analysis. This cross-pollination will benefit both leagues in ways that extend far beyond the broadcast itself. NBA fans who respect Caitlin's analysis will naturally become curious about her playing career. They will want to see the person behind the insights, to watch her demonstrate the basketball IQ she's been describing on Sunday nights.
Named a resume now, the former Hawkeye and Indiana Fever star will join NBC's Sunday Night Basketball pregame crew this week.
When the WNBA season tips off, these viewers will tune in with a connection they did not have before. They will not be watching a random women's basketball game. They will be watching Caitlin Clark, the analyst they have come to trust, competing at the highest level of her sport. The Indiana Fever will gain viewers who would never have found them otherwise. WNBA ratings, and which have already been climbing since Caitlin entered the league, will receive another surge. And the perception of women's basketball will continue evolving from curiosity to must-see entertainment. NBC understands this dynamic perfectly. They are not just hiring Caitlin Clark to improve their NBA coverage. They are using her as a conduit, a connection point that funnels attention from the most popular sports property in America to the league that Caitlin represents. It is a cross-promotion executed at the highest possible level, and it benefits every party involved. The business genius: most athletes do not think about their post-playing careers until their bodies begin to fail. They spend their 20s and 30s focused entirely on performance, assuming that opportunities will materialize when the time comes to transition. Some find broadcasting jobs. Some become coaches or front office executives. Many struggle to find their footing in a world that no longer values them for their physical abilities. Caitlin Clark is operating from an entirely different playbook. At 22 years old, with her entire playing career still ahead of her, she is already building the infrastructure for what comes next. She is not waiting until retirement to develop media skills. She is developing them now, in real time, while her visibility is at its peak and every opportunity remains available. The NBC deal fits into a larger ecosystem of business relationships that reveal the scope of her ambition. She is already signed with Xfinity, which is owned by Comcast, which owns NBC. This is not coincidence. This is strategy. Her team identified the synergies between these corporate entities and positioned her to benefit from all of them simultaneously. The speed of this execution is remarkable. She has been a professional basketball player for less than a year.
Martin looking. Here's Clark. She fires
and she has already secured a role that most former players spend their entire post-career networking to achieve. She has maximized her earning potential during the window when that potential is highest. She has diversified her income stream so that her financial future does not depend entirely on playing basketball. She has built a media presence that will outlast her athletic career by decades. This is not luck. This is not simply being in the right place at the right time. This is a young woman who understands her value, understands the marketplace, and understands how to leverage both for maximum advantage. The business savvy on display would be impressive from a 30-year veteran of professional sports. From a 22-year-old in her rookie WNBA season, it is almost unprecedented. As the lights dim on Madison Square Garden and the analysts take their seats, one question lingers.
World's most famous arena, Square Garden and the National Hockey League proudly.
Will Caitlin Clark simply share the desk, or will she redefine it entirely? The Hall of Famers beside her are legends, but history has a way of elevating the unexpected. This isn't just a broadcast. It's a moment that could reshape how we see basketball, authority, and talent itself. And when the final buzzer sounds, what will the world realize about the game and about the woman who just changed it forever?